This morning, a wildfire is causing smoky conditions around the region. We'll have the latest on the air quality before you head out the door.
A large wildfire in Grant County continues to grow. We're tracking its latest conditions.
Do bandanas work just as good as a smoke mask? We have the answer. It is 5 a.m. now on our Wednesday morning. We want to start by getting a look outside this morning. Right now, our air quality in Spokane is in the unhealthy for some groups range. Yesterday, we saw smoky conditions in the evening. Our air quality dropped as a wildfire continues to burn in Grant County. Thanks so much for being with us here on KREM 2 News. KREM 2 Morning News. I'm Jen York.
I'm Taylor Vito.
And I'm Evan Durrani.
Boy, I could really smell the smoke last night. It really rolled in our evening hours.
Yeah, and with that, we want to take a look at the air quality index for Spokane. As Jen mentioned, we are in the unhealthy for some groups level right now. That means people who are sensitive to air quality may feel serious effects.
Now, taking a look at Coeur d'Alene, it looks like the air quality is in the moderate range. That means the air quality is okay, but it may cause some moderate health concern for a small number of people. Usually those who are very sensitive to air pollution are the ones who are affected by that. But so far you can see, if you look over toward that left-hand side of your screen where Spokane is, that is where that smoke is centered. And as you mentioned, last night, that was really where we felt it, right?
Oh boy, we did. And in Sandpoint, the air quality is also in the unhealthy for sensitive groups range. So once again, people who are sensitive to smoke or particles in the air may be feeling that this morning.
Yeah, and that's exactly, people with asthma, respiratory illnesses, all those kinds of things should maybe consult a doctor before going outside, and especially before maybe participating in any, exercise outside as well. So as we start to see more fires in our region for fire season, of course, we do want to remind you about the benefits of some smoke masks. So inhaling wildfire smoke can be really harmful, and that's why experts say wearing a mask can help provide an extra barrier from those elements.
Bandanas are also popular, but the State Department of Health advises against them. That's because they may relieve dryness, but they actually do not protect your lungs.
So if you are looking into getting some masks, you want to first look to see if it has N95 on the mask. That's a rating from the National Institute for Occupational Health and Safety. An N95 mask filters out most particles. It can also be labeled as N100 as well.
And just in general, if we are seeing unhealthy levels outside, you're advised to try and stay indoors, of course. And that's what we're talking about, especially when our air quality is in the unhealthy for even some range. That's usually a good idea. Once we get back to the moderate range, you may want to consider that outdoor activity again. But when we're in the unhealthy for some range, that usually just means things are okay for most. People with respiratory illnesses should, take notice, of course, but I would like to think in general, maybe we limit the outdoor activity, right?
Absolutely. And of course, we're watching the winds this morning. Yeah. That, of course, was fanning the flames yesterday, but also blowing the smoke this direction.
Yeah, and the good news is that so far this morning, we have seen some pretty good improvements as far as our air quality goes. Take a look outside right now to start off our morning. We do have a good amount of cloud cover. We've got a cold front that's going to be pushing through this afternoon. It's going to bring quite a change in the weather pattern, and as opposed to yesterday where things were deteriorating as far as our air quality went, today things have been on a steady improvement. Over the last 3 hours, so about the last 3 checks of air quality since about 2:30 this morning, we moved from unhealthy for all to the higher range of unhealthy for some, and now to the lower range of unhealthy for some. So currently, again, our air quality is at 112. That is unhealthy for sensitive groups. If we move that number, if that number jumps up above 150, we'll move back into the unhealthy for all range, where you should definitely be limiting your outdoor activity. But this number is likely, what we're expecting is that this number will jump into the moderate range, meaning the number will go below 100 in the next couple hours and keep us in the moderate range likely for the remainder of your day. Now, the downside of this is that in terms of this fire that we're keeping an eye on, the 243 fire in Grant County, wind gusts over the next 12 hours are still going to be in the double digits and in the teens almost across the board. That definitely adds an additional layer to the the fire control effort, in that wind obviously does not help firefighters. But what we are at least going to be seeing is that temperatures are going to begin cooling down. So that continues today. High temperatures are expected in about the mid 70s or so. From tomorrow onward, we're expecting afternoon high temperatures in the upper 50s and low 60s. So a pretty significant cool down comes tomorrow. We're also facing a good chance of showers going into tomorrow morning around the Panhandle. We'll be talking about if any of those showers are going to make their way through Grant County and what that fire control effort looks like on that weather front coming up more in just a bit. Back to you guys. Or we'll take a check of traffic right now, 5:04. Right now, things are looking pretty smooth across I-90. We're not seeing any backups or delays. We'll let you know if anything changes. Jen Taylor, back to you.
Evan, thank you. Coming up on 5:05 now, we'll take a look at this picture from the Grant County Sheriff's Office. You can see just how much smoke there was after that wildfire sparked Monday night. Crews are working to contain that fire. This photo was taken looking east along Lower Crab Creek Road.
And of course, all that smoke is coming from the first major wildfire of the season. That fire has already burned at least 5,000 acres near Royal City in Grant County.
Level 3 evacuations are in place for Smyrna. That means leave immediately. Level 2 evacuations are covering the area between Highway 26 and 243. That includes Beverly, Shawana, and Wanapum Village. This means there is a significant risk to that area, and people should be ready to leave at a moment's notice.
So far, we're told the 243 command fire has destroyed several outbuildings, but so far no homes. This morning, 400 people from across the state are on scene battling steep terrain and variable winds. Beverly Burke Road between highways 26 and 243 is closed. People have been evacuated from the area.
Watching the flames come, it's just, there's a, I guess, a primal fear there with the wildfire coming at you. And we have a lot of memories in the house, and that's really nerve-wracking too, thinking there's a tiny chance we might lose it, but it's still a chance.
The cause of the fire has not been determined yet. The Red Cross opened an evacuation shelter in Royal City. Anyone displaced by the fire can go to the Royal City Intermediate School.
The Grant County Fairgrounds is also taking in animals. Authorities say they have room for 300 horses, some pigs, sheep, and a small number of cattle. Well, we saw a lot of talk on social media about whether the 243 command fire came early for fire season. So we looked into the numbers, and it turns out wildfires are not uncommon in June. This is about the time of year that the state sees its first major wildfire.
Last year, the first major fire was the Soap Lake Fire on June 11th. That was also in Grant County. And back in June 2017, the Sutherland Canyon and Straight Hollow fires burned tens of thousands of acres.
And in 2015, the Sleepy Hollow Fire in Chelan County also happened in June. That fire ultimately destroyed 29 homes. This is consistent with what Washington can consider a dry season as rainfall drops off in the summer, but that is more common in July, August, and September. So a dry spell in June can often kickstart fire season.
And we do want to remind you that we'll be tracking any updates to the 243 command fire all morning long. As always, you can find information on our website, KREM.com.
Coming up on 5:08 now, authorities identified human remains found in Kalispell as a Spokane man missing since 2017.
According to the Flathead County Sheriff's Office, the remains were identified as Corey Michael Flanagan. Flanagan was reported missing more than 2 years ago. Authorities say he was driving a stolen car that was found crashed in the Rose Crossing area in Kalispell. His fiancée posted on Facebook she last spoke with him in May of 2017.
Just 2 months ago, a person reported finding human remains in a wooded area. According to the sheriff's office there, the remains were discovered north of Flanagan's car. The investigation into his death is ongoing.
Spokane County Sheriff Ozzie Knezevich criticized Governor Jay Inslee on national TV last Friday. He called a law the governor recently signed criminal. Appearing
on Fox News Channel's Outnumbered, he claimed the sanctuary state law aims to hinder national immigration enforcement. The law creates a number of new restrictions for how law enforcement in Washington can deal with immigration issues. Sheriff Knezevich claims Governor Inslee committed obstruction of justice.
What would you say to Governor Jay Inslee about this sanctuary? You're saying that he's committing a crime, basically.
I am. He took the same oath that I did to uphold the Constitution of the United States and the laws thereof. If you really think it's bad, change the law. Otherwise, if you don't want to enforce your own laws, then either step down or be held in contempt of Congress or be arrested for obstruction.
Well, the governor said he doesn't see it that way. A spokeswoman said in a statement, quote, "We are fully confident that with this bill, Washington State is in full compliance with all federal laws. The bill was passed by the legislature and signed by the governor. The bill is now state law, and sheriffs, just like everyone else, are expected to follow state law."
This is still a developing story from both sides. For more information, we have a link on our website at KREM.com. President Trump is in day 3 of a state visit in the UK, and today he is attending an event commemorating the 75th anniversary of D-Day.
During his visit in the UK, the president met with outgoing British Prime Minister Theresa May. She is leaving her post on Friday after failing to get her Brexit plan through Parliament. The president told May the U.S. will support the UK after it leaves the EU. After the D-Day event, the president will make his way to Ireland.
5:10 on our Wednesday morning. Looking ahead to this weekend, Spokane's Pride Parade is happening this upcoming Saturday. It's happening around downtown Spokane, and that parade starts at noon.
There's also the Rainbow Festival that's starting at noon at Riverfront Park, and there will be some special guests at the festival. There will be performances by the Seahawks Blue Thunder Drumline Band and Seahawks dancers. There will also be a flag raising ceremony.
There are several other Pride events happening throughout the month. For a list of those events, you can head to outspokane.org. It is coming up on 5:11 now. 23 years ago today, the Seattle Supersonics took on one of the most famous basketball players ever. We're going to be turning back the clock to 1994.
And if you drink several cups of coffee a day, you don't have to feel guilty anymore. There's a new report that says it's actually not bad for you.
And take a look outside. We are actually seeing a pretty beautiful start to our Wednesday, although yesterday afternoon and evening did bring us some problems related to air quality. It looks like things are on the up and up for our Wednesday. We'll be talking more about your weather forecast and your air quality forecast after the break.